our winners and losers of the Sprint Grand Prix in Brazil. And on the bottom, the person that's not done so well, I'm sorry, yeah, you've got to give it to him. This guy's got a world championship to win, and he spins in what was, understandably, but I think quite an amateurish crash. Oscar Piastri's now at that level, then that shouldn't happen. Now, yes, I appreciate pretty much every F1 driver has had a crash or something similar to that crash. But as I adjust the green screen, but in relation to that, he's got a world championship to win. So amateur hour for McLaren's Piastri, amateur hour for Colapinto as well. He spun off very, very similar on the water, but I haven't got the footage. But when you see him go into that Senna S, it was just completely out of control. It could have been avoided. Once again, why did Alpine sign him? Timo Senna. Hulkenberg, again, he's one of the trio that went off in sympathy with Oscar Piastri. It reminded me of that race in 2003 where there was a river running and people like Michael Schumacher ended up in there as well. Schumacher, a man of many talents. The 2008 Nürburgring Grand Prix, I think either Germany or the European Grand Prix, where 2007, where Lewis Hamilton and others ended up at that first corner, but it was raining a lot more. So these two, I'm going to put these two together, yeah, as kind of like a negative. Oliver Bearman and Liam Lawson, these two. I mean, Ollie Bearman absolutely squeezed the heck out of Liam Lawson. It was squeezing so much he wouldn't have been able to get any more other than a crash. Sadly, it did end up in a crash. Liam Lawson on the inside. Bearman arguably not really giving each other any space. And yes, if the incident, I think, has gone to the streets, I'll be surprised if it's anything but a racing incident. However, we are dealing with the FIA, so, disqualified from the championship potentially for something like that. They are so inconsistent. Yuki Tsunoda, again, didn't really feature. He did start from the pit lane, though, didn't he? Dear old Yuki Tsunoda. So he started from the pit lane, and he ended up finishing, 14th? Bearing in mind 3 people went off. Still, if I'm honest, I'm so sorry, Yuki. Yeah, very average. Again, Alexander Albon, very, very average as well. It was just, 17th, not great, and a bad race. It's a bit embarrassing, really, because it was Carlos Sainz, the man that started last, ended up beating you. But there we go. So after Carlos Sainz, we've got Esteban Ocon, I want to say a solid-ish result in 11th. He did better than Bearman. He kept himself out of trouble, unlike his teammate Oliver Bearman, just outside, a few places outside the points. I think fairly happy-ish. Now, the reason I've got Gabriel Bortoleto this far up, yes, he made that mistake. But until then, it was looking okay. And part of me also wants to put him not quite maybe in too much of a positive light, but he went for it. He tried to go for an overtake on the last lap. It didn't work, but fair play. He's a rookie. Unlike, for example, Piastri, I guess we can give him a tiny bit of leeway. In the positive, Lance Stroll, okay, he didn't get any points. He finished, though, in 9th. So, well done for not embarrassing yourself, Lance Stroll. Isaac Hadjar just outside the points in 10th. I think he had a fairly solid race, though. Lewis Hamilton, I think it was too risky for him to try and get by Leclerc. I felt he was faster than Leclerc at times, especially in the first stint. He himself said in interviews he felt a lot more confident in that first stint. But Charles Leclerc just couldn't get past Fernando Alonso. Now, Charles Leclerc, let's be fair, is not the biggest risk taker when it comes to passing people. However, you wanted that in this race simply because off the line was so slippery, and he would have ended up in the wall. And yeah, speaking of Leclerc, I mean, he's just won above Hamilton. A solid-ish, unspectacular, decent move, unspectacular result. But yeah, if it was dry, he would have been past Alonso, I think, a lot more sooner. Next up, we got Max Verstappen. Yeah, okay, he finished 4th, so it was somewhat damage limitation, really. And he's going to be going into qualifying. I don't know what the qualifying results are yet. Into, I imagine, damage limitation mode. So Fernando Alonso is next, and I think he did really, really well. Fernando Alonso, bear in mind, the Aston Martin is not the fastest car in a straight line. I do think the conditions really helped him. But yeah, not bad at all from you, Fernando Alonso. Next up then, we've got Pierre Gasly. Now, what's so good about Pierre Gasly? Well, this guy ended up getting in the points. It was absolutely amazing. He finished, 8th, which is points for the sprint race. I appreciate just the one. But I guess when you're Pierre Gasly and Alpine, at this point, you'll take anything. But well done, Pierre Gasly. Absolutely fantastic. And there's only 3 people ahead of you. One of them being George Russell, who did finish 3rd. And yeah, solid. You didn't get Antonelli, but there we go. And we've put Antonelli as 2nd best, and finishing P2. He was so close to Lando at times, wasn't he? I mean, there was that one moment where he was about 6/10 off Lando in the middle of the section. I thought, surely, but he just couldn't get a good enough exit off that last corner, well, the last proper corner where you brake. Put it there. And Fernando Alonso is our man of the sprint race simply because he soaked up the pressure. He had another restart, albeit what was that about? The restart, the rolling restart. Why would they have a rolling restart? I mean, come on, you might as well wrap the cars in cling film at this point. It wasn't wet. Yeah, well, there we go. But Lando Norris did that, and I think McLaren gave him the wrong tyres, unless it was his decision, with those softs. But he did really well with it, soaking up all that pressure. Didn't really make a mistake, unlike his teammate. And he's just the on-form driver at the moment. He absolutely is. So there we go. I'm going to leave you with your top 8. While I ask you, if you made it to the end, absolutely amazing. We are not worthy. Give us a subscribe if you want as well. That'd be really fantastic. It would also help if I hit the subscribe button to tell you what I'm... There we go. There it is. Hit the notification button so you don't miss a video. But you just watching this is more than enough for us. Thank you very much. And we'll speak to you soon. And stay safe.